It's been 11 months since I've released my latest psychological thriller short film Paranoia on this channel, and today in this video, I'll share my writing process, break down and analyze the whole short film, look at some behind the scenes footage, and also give you some tips on what to keep in mind while making a psychological thriller short film in very low budget. So I'm pretty sure this will be a very helpful video if you are into short film making, no matter what level you are at right now. I hope you will get something out of it. So definitely make sure to watch it till the end. But if you haven't watched the short film yet, then please go ahead and watch it first and then come back and watch this video, because this video will be full of spoilers. The short film has crossed 25k views on YouTube as of now, and I've got really amazing feedback from you guys, for which I'm really thankful to all of you. I'm breaking down this video in two parts, otherwise this will become too long for a single video, as I want to talk about a lot of things. In this first video, I'll talk about my writing process and how I approach thrillers, and on the next part, I'll discuss the technical aspects of the short film. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. Hello guys, my name is Shubhadeep Mondal. I'm a filmmaker and an equally passionate guitarist. On this channel, I upload short films, music videos, photo and video editing tutorials, as well as detailed guitar tutorials. So if you're new here and are interested in any of these topics, then please consider subscribing by clicking on the big red subscribe button down there, and also click the bell icon next to it to turn on notifications so that you don't miss any updates whenever I upload a new video. Okay, so let's start by giving you a backstory about how I came for the idea of Paranoia. Back in 2015, I made my last psychological thriller short film named Unbelievable, which has recently surpassed 50k views on YouTube, and that's still one of my most loved short films, which you can watch on my channel. After that, I made Audition, another drama film but treated more like a thriller. Both these films were shot back to back and was part of a series which I called the Passion series, because both the films dealt with a single topic, which is, as you can guess, passion. Unbelievable was pessimistic in nature, whereas Audition was optimistic and more like an inspirational video. Unbelievable was about passion turned into obsession and how that can have adverse effects on someone, whereas in Audition, the message was, if you follow your passion long enough, with honest intent, you'll get your desired results eventually, if not immediately. After that, I made a silent short film with just a mobile phone camera. I used my Samsung Galaxy S6 phone camera and shot the short film in 4K and edited in 1080p HD. Funny enough, I actually started my career and made my first ever short film on my mobile phone camera only. Now, on that silent short film, I also did a pretty good job of embarrassing myself by trying to act in it. Although that wasn't originally planned, but for some reason I had to act on my own film, which was a totally new and fresh perspective for me, and that actually helped me understand how it feels to be in front of the camera, and as a director, how to communicate with your actors properly. So no matter how much I hated my acting, there was still a learning experience for me, and now I can advise anyone who wants to be a film director should also try to act in front of the camera at least once, just to get a feel for it. You don't have to be good at it, and you don't necessarily have to be a good actor yourself, or even an actor at all, to be a good director. You just need to be able to understand good acting, and that's it. And I think trying to act in front of the camera will definitely help you understand that better. It will also help you understand your actors and how they feel being so vulnerable in front of the camera, and you'll get better at dealing with them more compassionately. I'm still learning and trying to improve my directing and communication skills. I wasn't that skilled when making all those short films a few years back, but making all these films have helped me gain a lot of experience and made me much wiser today, and hopefully it will help me in the upcoming days as well. Now, that silent short film that I shot with my mobile phone camera wasn't supposed to be like anything that it is now. I had a completely different vision for that film, which would have required much more resources than I had at that time. Now, what was my original idea that I couldn't make? Well, that would be a discussion for another video, but today I'll tell you that as independent filmmakers, we always have to make compromises, and Paranoia is also not any different. Actually, every short film that I've made till now is a compromise of some sort. I don't even want to make these kinds of psychological thriller short films at all. And I have a few scripts which are more like drama, which I actually want to make, but those would require a lot more resources and budget. So that's why I had to settle for these compromised scripts, which are written respecting the limited resources I had at the moment. And I'm pretty sure this is the case with most of the independent filmmakers working today. And I'll tell you how you can maximize the impact of your short films with whatever you have right now. Well, I'll share at least how I try to do it, and hopefully you'll get something of your use. So after making these films, all of which were shot in our house and are kind of sketches and more like an idea with a simple twist, having no proper story, I wanted to try making a short film with a story in it, but I also had to keep the budget in mind. So I had to write a script where most of the scenes can be shot in our own house and in the nearby locations, but I also didn't want to make the film look boring or even low budget. It has always happened this way, where I actually want to make a certain film, but due to the lack of resources, I had to come up with this type of compromised scripts. At that time, I got pretty frustrated and also was going through depression, which made me paranoid, and as a way out of it, I wanted to make a film on it. So I wanted to make a film on paranoia, which will explain to the audience what paranoia is, but not necessarily a documentary on it. And at the same time, I was watching a lot more modern horror films like the Ouija series, Don't Breathe, the Conjuring series, Insidious, those kinds of stuff, which I'm actually a fan of and was so intrigued by the smooth camera movements these films have. In general, I like the cinematography and the overall tone and atmosphere of these films, and I was also watching a lot of cinematography tutorials as well. So I wanted to make a film where I can try out all these things, make a film on the topic of paranoia, having a proper story in it, and also not blowing up the budget out of proportion, and still be able to deliver somewhat of a thrilling experience to the audience. Now that the film has been released, I can say that somehow we have managed to achieve some of my original intentions, at least to some extent, and we have been able to make a decent and watchable short film on a shoestring budget. I'll talk about both the things that went well and that didn't, and share my learnings from them. So let's start with the script writing process. Here I have gone for a non-linear story structure. If I had placed all my scenes happening in one place, which is our house, and if I told the story linearly, then it would have been boring to watch. So I overcome my budget issue by going with non-linear storytelling structure, which is actually my preferred way of script writing rather than going with a more conventional 3-act structure. And if you're curious to know which software I use for script writing purpose, then let me tell you, I use Keltex to write all my scripts. It's an online, cloud-based script writing software and it's really good. You can just create an account and start using it for free. They also have paid subscription plans for added functionalities, but I believe the free version has all the necessary tools that you will ever need as a beginner or even as an intermediate scriptwriter. As this is cloud-based, you can access your scripts from any device you log in with. But if you want to use a more professional software, then you can go with Final Draft, which is the industry standard. So if you are serious about script writing and want to make a career around it, then you better start using Final Draft. Or if you are an absolute beginner, you may just use Google Docs or even good old pen and paper. And if you don't know how to write scripts and screenplays properly and want to learn, then just let me know in the comment section below and I'll try to make a tutorial video for you. So as you can see, the short film has mainly 3 sequences: the psychiatrist's chamber, the interrogation scene, and the scenes that were described by the character of Ria. I have intercut among these 3 sequences back and forth throughout the short film. In between, there is also a scene where the character of Oyon comes to give her the Wi-Fi password, and then there is also a surreal sequence. Both of these scenes were not present in the original script and were added at the final moment. And finally, there is the climax scene, which is a day exterior shot which serves as a total surprise both story-wise and visually. As I have already said that I was watching horror films, and at that time I was kind of inspired by those films, and I originally wanted to make a psychological horror film and not a psychological thriller only. So the original script of Paranoia had a few more scenes after the character of Ria gets the death threat, which was actually the Wi-Fi password given to her previously by the character of Oyon, and at that scene when the electricity goes off, my original intention was to switch genres at that moment, and there were at least a few minutes of extra horror sequence planned in the original script before we cut to the interrogation scene with a jump scare. But at the last moment, we scrapped the idea of shooting those sequences entirely. Now I feel like it would have been way better if the film had those scenes. But nevertheless, I think going with such non-linear narrative structure made the film look expensive, grand, and way more exciting to watch than it really is. Although 90% of the film was shot in our own house, including the psychiatrist's chamber and the interrogation scene. I'll talk about the production design in detail in part 2 of this video. Now, if you think for a moment, then you will know there is not enough scenes considering a 15 minutes short film, but still, editing the film non-linearly kept the momentum going. Chronologically, the character of Ria was suffering from paranoia and was having the experience with her stalker, which by the way is not the character of Oyon. Let me know if you have thought that the character of Oyon is the stalker and she murdered him, but if you see the film carefully, then you will know that the character of Oyon is just a random guy and is present in the film just to give you a false information. I'll talk about the importance of false information later on in this video. After she committed the murder, she was captured by the police, and then the interrogation scene takes place where she tried to explain what really happened and how she feels that she didn't kill him on purpose but in self-defense. She is totally convinced about this and she doesn't even know that she suffers from paranoia. Now the character of Devi, the police officer, also suffers from paranoia, which was the first twist of the short film. The police officer doesn't want to believe all she is saying and thinks that she is making up stories until she does the same thing and shoots her. Here, I haven't shown if Ria's character actually gets shot or even dies or not. Most probably she doesn't, and that's why in the climax, the police officer is not in jail. But this incident proves the point of Ria. After this incident, the police officer gets sucked into depression and her husband, Mr. Mukherjee, starts worrying and eventually takes her to the doctor. The film starts with the psychiatrist scene. Now, at the first watch, the script is designed in such a way one would think the psychiatrist and Mr. Mukherjee are talking about Ria, who seems to be his wife throughout the film until the very end. Now, this is the second twist. On a second watch, you will get everything they are talking about and you'll get to know that the backstory where it was revealed that the girl is suffering from severe depression and paranoia way before their marriage, she might even have a disturbing childhood and all. Everything was about the police officer and not about Ria. How I made sure to have these twists play out properly, I'll talk about them next.